And we're going to talk about two schools from my home state, the Texas Longhorns and the Texas A&M Aggies, and two schools that haven't played each other in years, but are still huge rivals in the state. That for anyone that is not in the state of Texas, I can assure you that it's still a big rivalry in every fan base, or the Texas and the A&M fan base want their schools to play each other. That's a whole other topic. We're going to talk about the quarterback position. The quarterback position for both schools, because both schools find themselves in a very similar situation with two guys competing for only one spot and both schools having to replace NFL quarterbacks, Kellen Mond for Texas A&M and Sam Ehlinger for the University of Texas. And regardless what fans say about each guy, because depending what fan base you talk to, each fan wanted their guy to continue to take the next step. And sometimes fans are the toughest critics, right? But whatever your opinion is, they're both NFL guys who put up huge numbers in college and had a lot of production. Let's look at the production from each guy real quick that the schools have to replace. So Sam Ehlinger, being drafted this past year, 94 touchdowns throwing, 33 rushing touchdowns, over 1,100 yards passing, and over 1,900 yards rushing. It's a lot of production for a quarterback to have to replace, for a quarterback room to have to replace, right? Texas A&M, Kellen Mond, over 9,600 yards passing, over 1,600 yards rushing, 71 passing touchdowns, and 22 rushing touchdowns. So each quarterback with a lot of production had a lot of success in college, regardless what each fan base says, and there's a reason why they were drafted in the NFL. So that leaves both schools in a situation to have to replace NFL quarterbacks. I can't remember the last time both schools had guys go to the league. Was it Colt McCoy and Ryan Tannehill? I'm not even sure, but somewhere along those lines, right? So before we talk about any more of this video, before we get into the content of the actual video, I just want to encourage you to consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, though. We put out any quarterback-related content, whether it's comparisons like this, or the majority of the style of content we put out is quarterback breakdowns, which we will get back to soon. So just consider subscribing to the channel if you're a quarterback fan. Like the video, comment below, and we will continue to put out quarterback content. Okay, enough of that. Let's dive into the actual quarterback rooms. So let's look at the University of Texas. And before I keep going into this, I also want to kind of put out a video that we put out about a month ago on Texas Homer's YouTube channel, who does phenomenal content for the University of Texas football. He puts out University of Texas football content, does a great job, my go-to. So I'll link that in the description below if you want to kind of check that out in more detail, because that's a long video and go into a lot of details and go into depth about each quarterback, Hudson Card and Casey Thompson, for the Texas Longhorns. So that's kind of like a more detailed breakdown. But let's briefly talk about each guy here and see what they bring to the table. So Hudson Card, a former 4-star recruit, almost 5-star, I believe. He was, according to 24/7 Sports, was a 97th was a 97 ranking, which I think gets you pretty close to that 5-star rank according to 24/7 Sports. There are only a few guys ahead of Hudson Card in the 2020 class, only 3 quarterbacks. One is DJ U from Clemson, Bryce Young, the Alabama quarterback, and CJ Stroud, who is most likely going to be the Ohio State quarterback, but he's in contention for the starting job. So those are the only 3 guys ahead of Hudson Card. So that just kind of shows you how highly rated, how highly thought of Hudson Card was out of high school. He's a big guy, has a big arm, but a good athlete as well. Actually played some receiver at Lake Travis, which is a pretty big, successful high school in Texas that has produced a ton of good quarterbacks. But he played receiver at Lake Travis before playing quarterback. So just a good athlete who can do a lot of things well. Big arm, can throw off platform. And he did a good job in the spring game. Had some really nice throws, which, again, we broke down in that we broke down in that quarterback video with Texas Homer. So that is kind of what he brings to the table. Big arm. Can throw from multiple positions, and he's a good athlete who can throw on the run and move whenever he needs to, but again, does not have a ton of experience or really any in college, but was a really, really highly thought of recruit who has a big-time future. The next quarterback for the University of Texas is Casey Thompson. So he was a 4-star coming out of high school, who was .90 rating, according to 247 Sports. He's not as big as a guy as Hudson Card. He's probably a better athlete than Hudson Card, can move around a little good, but he does a great job throwing going off script as well, and throwing off balance throws as well. But he also can fit Sark's offense if it's molded to him, right? Sark doesn't run the quarterback a ton, but whoever the quarterback will be for the Longhorns, I think Sark will kind of Coach Sarkisian will mold that offense to that quarterback. And what I like about Casey Thompson, he's just a straight gamer, right? Even though he showed success in the Alamo Bowl against Colorado last year, year when Sam Ehlinger got hurt. Yes, it was a bowl game. Yes, it was Colorado, but he still went out and balled. So that right there kind of holds weight with me. He was 8 of 10 against Colorado, 170 yards and 4 touchdowns. A good athlete who showed some really good things in the Alamo Bowl. So I think Texas fans are in a very good situation, regardless who is their quarterback, whether it's Hudson Card or Casey Thompson. I think they got a big quarterback room right now. And whoever wins this quarterback position is going to, I think, find success under Coach Sarkisian's offense. And he's one of the main reasons why I'm high on Texas, just because he has a history of, a recent history of having quarterback success at Alabama, and he pitches guys in a great situation to succeed. So that's the Texas offense, or the Texas quarterback room. Let's go ahead and jump into the Texas A&M quarterback room. Again, very similar situation, replacing their guy, and they got 2 guys competing. They have Zach Calzada. I'm messing up the name. I'm sorry. But they have him from, he was a 3-star coming out of high school, .88, so borderline 4-star. Again, I don't know how they rate these guys, but this is according to the 247 composite website. And he had playing time in 2019 behind Kellen Mond, had 2 passing touchdowns, got a good arm, can really spin it. If you watch the spring game, you can really tell that he really does have a good arm, can really push the ball downfield and fit the ball in the tight window. So a very talented thrower that Calzada is for the Texas A&M Aggies, but again, hasn't played since 2019. And both Zach Calzada and Haynes King don't have a ton of experience, right? But again, Calzada had some playing time in 2019, excuse me. And then Haynes King, he had some playing time in 2020. I think King seemed to be the backup in 2020. He had a few stats in 2019. He had 1 passing touchdown compared to Calzada's 2 in 2019, and King had his in 2020, being a true freshman. He's a good athlete. He can hurt you with his legs, but he's got a good arm as well. Good feel and good touch on his passes. I think Zach's probably got a little more RPMs on his balls, can really spin it, but King's probably a better athlete, can move around a little bit. And so different quarterbacks, but again, whoever Jimbo is able to kind of mold and fit that offense will be the guy moving forward. And like Sarkisian, Jimbo has had a lot of success with quarterbacks as well, but very different style. So Sark is a guy who kind of puts his quarterbacks in position to succeed and kind of develops great play design and schemes, where Jimbo will ask a lot of their quarterback. There's a lot of different schemes that the quarterback has to know and has to be able to check to. And so different styles, both successful, just kind of different ways how they go about it. So again, both guys, both quarterback rooms are in these situations where they got good rosters, good team behind them. If a quarterback comes in and does well, then who knows what could happen. A&M really took a big step last year, and they are wanting to continue that step and continue the momentum that they have. And then, of course, Texas is so excited about their new head coach, and they got momentum as well. So I think whoever has the best quarterback play of these 2 schools will probably have the better season. That's pretty obvious. But I want to hear from you. Who do you think is going to have the best quarterback play out of these schools? What quarterback room would you want? And here's my answer. And I'm going to make one fan base mad, one fan base happy. I'm leaning towards the Longhorns for one simple fact. I like Coach Sarkisian, how he puts his quarterbacks in situations to succeed. Not saying that Coach Jimbo Fisher doesn't, because he's a hell of a quarterback coach as well. But as of late, with the Alabama quarterbacks and the offense that Coach Sarkisian has, I think it is a good situation, a good position for new young quarterbacks to find themselves in. And so I lean towards the Texas Longhorns, but I still think the A&M Aggies have a very talented quarterback room, and whoever wins that job is going to help A&M have a good season. So I lean toward Texas. I want to hear from you. What quarterback room would you rather have? Who do you think will be the starting quarterbacks moving forward? Again, I'll put the video of Texas Homer that I did with Texas Homer in the link below. I also have had a few video breakdowns of the A&M quarterback rooms as well, kind of comparing the 2 guys in a little more detail. I'll link those below in the description as well, so you can check those out if you want to. But again, I want to hear from you. If you like the video, consider just commenting on who you would want. Like the video if you like it. If you like the channel, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We'll see you next time on our next quarterback related video.